Better. Okay, so in the gym getting after it, starting to warm up for the bench today, kind of as a final peak for the cycle. I'm gonna try to hit a bench max and see what happens. And one of the questions I got is, hey, how do you build up to a bench max? From my man Chet and a few other people, but I want to make sure I put this out there real fast because I know that some of you are going to be coming down to the end of the program, at least in the near future. So for all three of the lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift, my warm-up approach is ultimately the same. I try to do something to get my body warm. Typically what I'll do is maybe a light jog, you know, a couple minutes on a treadmill, some light jump rope, just some light movement to kind of elevate my my heart rate, get me warm. A lot of times I'll wear, you know, sweatsuit, sweatpants, sweatshirt, keep my body heat in, start warming up. Now, there's kind of two risks to warming up, right? One is not warming up enough, and then the other is warming up too much. If you don't warm up enough, you risk injury, right? So going into heavyweight cold is probably a good way to meet disaster. And the other thing is that you're not neurally primed, so you haven't kind of built your body up to what you're asking it to do. You know, typically you got to kind of build up slow, and the slow build up is not doing a whole bunch of reps, but rather sequentially moving up until you get to the weight that you're looking to get to, so that your body can accept the load. So for the lower end, I'll typically do, say like on bench for example, I'll do like 135 for a couple of sets of 10s just to get myself warm. And then as I move up in the weight, I'm really only doing maybe doubles or singles until I get to my actual test weight. So that's kind of how I work up to what I'm going for. Now I mentioned one side of the coin being not being warm enough, right? Just jumping straight into something, you're gonna be cold, not nearly primed, good chance for an injury. The opposite end of that spectrum is, you know, over tiring yourself, dipping too far into the well and exhausting yourself before you get where you want to be. One, you're probably not going to hit what you want to hit because you'll be too tired. And two, you also risk the chance of injury because you're exhausted, and you know, being too fatigued and trying to handle big weight can lead to an injury. So just case in point, right? As about a 500-pound bencher, give or take, typically I'll spend some time at 135, like I mentioned. You know, a couple sets of 10s just to get warmed up and get the body moving. And then also including some of that additional movement, right? Jogging, jump roping, something, getting the blood flowing. Typically then I'm warm, and all I'm doing by increasing the weight and building up to where I'm trying to go is, like I said, giving my body that neural cue. Hey, you know, it's getting more intense. And that way I'll be more apt to accept that weight. So if you want to try to feel what I'm talking about, you know, if you're a 300-pound plus bencher, you know, go from 135 straight up to 315 and see how that feels. Probably doesn't feel very good. And that's because of that neural priming, getting yourself ready to do what you're about to try to do. So typically, this is a kind of an approach that I take for my warm-ups. And there's really no one size fits all for this. It's basically how you want to do it. To get up to a 500-pound bench, I'll essentially make plate jumps. So do my warming up with 135, maybe 185, and then 225, 315, 405. I might do a 455, and then maybe take a stab at 500, you know, so that I can, you know, take that small sequential jump and get to where I want to be. So it's kind of an art that you'll figure out as you go along, and you just got to kind of test things out and see what works for you. Eventually, you'll find that, you know, kind of a pattern or something that you enjoy. Now, I will say that warming up for bench, very similar to warming up for any of the other exercises. Kind of the same approach, same tactics, all that kind of stuff. So do the same thing for squat as well. And I imagine once you guys kind of develop your patterns, you will as well. So I want to thank you guys for asking that question. I hope that this answers that for you guys, to kind of how to get to that 1 rep max or build up to it for, you know, for that matter. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave in the chat box below. I will respond. And I appreciate you guys asking the questions, giving me the opportunity to try to help. Remember, no matter what it is you think you can't do, like hit that new 1 rep max, get your ass to the gym and train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. I appreciate you guys checking this one out. And you guys can help me out with those likes and shares and the subscribes. I would definitely appreciate that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.